You want to wholesale houses with no money, right? I get it. Okay. Last night you watched one wholesaling YouTubers out here. You watched them all, right? You watched about 46 YouTube videos. On the back of your napkin, you went out here and you wrote basically your whole master plan, how you make $1 million in next year, and you got 14 bucks in the bank account, and you're like, Zach, show me the ropes, show me how to get rich and successful. Well, the truth is, I can actually do that. I can actually show you how to do all that stuff with no money at all. Now, if I'm going to show you how to make a ton of money in wholesaling, you have to do me a favor and put a ton of time in. The thing about wholesaling real estate is you're either going to give your time or you're going to give money in this business. Now, the most successful wholesalers that I have always found in this business are able to pretty much give both. Now, I'm not saying that you need to do everything. I'm not saying you have to give up all your time and money, but most people need to choose one thing or the other. More specifically, if you're somebody who says, hey, I work a full-time job, I can't go out here and cold call 40 hours a week, that's fine. I'm completely okay with that. As long as you are willing to put $500-$600 a month in maybe a dialer or texting or something like that. But here's kind of the flip side. Everybody in here is coming out here and saying, oh my gosh, Zach, I have no money. How do I get started? This was the whole premise of why we made freewholesaling.com. Number one, to teach wholesaling real estate for free and to show people that you can make money without spending any money in the wholesaling basically space. Now it's kind of grown to its own massive thing, which is absolutely awesome. Like, I love everyone in the community, right? But the one thing I could tell you, the one thing that's most important about this is that is not the end game. We're not all here to learn no-cost strategies. Because to be frank with everybody, when you have no money in wholesaling, it absolutely sucks. It is not fun. When you are broke and you're trying to get your first wholesaling deal, it is not fun at all. It is complete grind. It sucks. It is not fun. You are calling on a Google voice dialer. You are just texting and copying text all the time. And you are just struggling. But the main point of doing it is so you can get through, that quote grind season, and then maybe buy a dialer, buy a software, and actually start using something where your time is going to be a lot more valuable. So if you're calling by yourself, you're probably doing a task that you could probably outsource for $5, $6, $7 an hour. Once you have a dialer, you're probably doing $20 an hour of work. Once you hire VAs and stuff, it gets a lot better. But the thing is, when you have no money, you can't obviously get VAs. And so you're literally doing $6, $7 an hour tasks. So if you're completely broke right now and you have no money and you actually want to wholesale houses, the best possible thing we can do is start looking at the return on time and the return on money. Now, everyone knows ROI, that's return on investment. That's how much money I spent in wholesaling and how much money I got back. Now, if you put, let's say, $1,000 in marketing and you got a $10,000 wholesale deal, it's a 10x. It's a great ROI. It's like 1,000% ROI. Woohoo. We love that stuff. But how do you calculate ROI when you have $0? Like, it's basically infinite, right? You put $0 in and you got a $20,000 wholesale deal. That's like infinite returns. Now, the secret here is ROI is basically always infinite when you have no money in wholesaling, but you're always going to be capped at how much money you can make. So what you have to start focusing on your activities here is high ROTs. So that's called a return on your time. So ROI is always infinitely, basically 1,000,000%. It's basically infinite, right? What we can start calculating when you have no money is your ROT, your return on time. So this is very important for everybody who has no money getting started in this business. How much time do I have to put in to get a deal with no money? That is always the secret, right? Because everyone's like, I have no money. How do I get a deal? Well, luckily for you, we got freewholesaling.com, right? Like, we just dropped the video outreach system last week where you can go send Loom videos via email to 30,000 people. We have amazing community members everywhere here has X leads. So you can find somebody who has X leads. They'll literally just hand you over free skip traces. We love that. So you have free skip tracing. That's not a problem. Email blasting is a free thing, right? There's all these free strategies to go get deals. But which one am I going to be putting the least amount of time in to get a deal when I have no money, I'm spending no money? That's the big mega secret. Now, the big mega secret I could tell you, and honestly, I've been saying this forever, the best secret out there is Government lists. I have really not really changed my mind on this in a very, 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 very long time. But still to this day, after sharing about government lists for almost 6 years on social media, it is still the most underutilized strategy because people still to this day do not want to pull the lists. I mean, I kind of got probates figured out with X leads, but still there's code violations, liens, fire damage properties, water shutoffs that no software can pull. And it is not fun to pull those lists. They're very manual. Every single market is completely different for it. And you are not pulling it because frankly, it's a little bit of work and maybe you're a little lazy. You don't want to do all of it. Maybe you don't know how to do it. I kind of call your bluff on that because everyone knows freelancing.com. It's where you learn how to wholesale, where you just, I mean, no joke. I mean, we got Ty in both of these, right? Ty will literally give out government lists to people. That's not a problem anymore. I mean, the question is like, why are you not succeeding? You have no money. I mean, I could tell everybody in here, if you pull a code violation list, skip trace on Tribal Searcher, find somebody to give you 1,000 X leads, skip traces for free, and you go out here and dial on Google Voice, call 1,000 of them, you're probably going to get some leads and most likely a deal. But how many people in here, just being truthful, have called 1,000 code violations in the past 2 or 3 months? Probably not. And the ones that are getting deals probably have done that. That's the thing. Most people have not done that. Okay. And again, I'm not pointing my fingers at anyone saying you're the problem, lazy bum. Okay. I'm not calling you a terrible lazy bum, but I'm just saying, I just spat out one specific method. You've probably not done that. Now, another issue I see a lot of people have is, oh my gosh, I know what I have to do, but I am just like, oh my, there's just so much. I could call, I could text, I could drive for dollars, I could reverse drive for. I'm so stressed out of my mind. What in the world do I do? And to that, I always just try to make it simple. It's like, can you just make 100 calls a day? I mean, if you go on Google Voice and make 100 calls a day of people that are on a motivated seller type of list, specifically a government list. I mean, you make 100 calls a day on a government list, you are going to get a deal in probably 90 days, probably 60 to be honest. But how many people have consistently done 500 calls a week for 12 weeks? Not enough. Okay. And that's another thing so it's not even like we're having an information. I used to think, oh my gosh, it's an information problem. This is why we're failing in wholesaling. That is zero of the issue. Information is everywhere. That is not even close to the issue. That is not even 1% of the problem. The main issue that I've been finding with wholesalers right now has just been this just sheer lack of accountability. Now, why are you not accountable? Do I want to go say, oh my gosh, it's because you guys are all terrible lazy bumps? No, like, come on, guys. I look at all you guys and when I get to the nitty gritty of why you're not where you need to be at, most of it, and I'll be honest with you, is just, it's just life. That's the biggest issue we have. It's like, hey, my name is Sarah. I'm a single mom of 3. It's not that I'm just like this lazy bum all day, but I work 2 jobs and I got 3 kids. Like, I completely get it. Like, trust me, my heart goes out to everyone like that. Like, there's some tough situations out here. You work a full-time job with kids and stuff, like, it's way harder. And you guys see me lay into a 16-year-old who's living in his mom's basement who is struggling, even though they're homeschooled, on even making 5 calls a day, right? So it's like we have all these situations. It's like, what do I do? Like, so most people inherently in freelancing.com and in the community on these calls, you guys are not lazy. That is not your issue. The issue is, and I'll be honest, is life will always be busy for you because that's just life in general. It's going to be busy till you're probably in the ground. So we need to start kind of looking back at our time and figure out how can we time block. That's really, honestly, I really think time blocking is going to be the secret for most people in here. Now, if you're somebody who's under the age of like 30, I'll probably tell you your biggest time issue, if you don't have a wife and kids and all these things, right, is most likely going to be your phone. Now, if you're like 47, 55, 60 years old, you're probably not addicted on your phone 7 hours a day like some of these 20-year-olds. So you have a different issue. And that issue is probably responsibilities you're dealing with, right? So one little hack and give to anybody who has no money, but they just can never find the time is you need to basically just do one time block, 5 to 7 p.m. And you might be like, well, Zach, I pick up my kids at 5:30. Okay, well, 7 to 9, something, right? Where you have 1 hour, 2 hours. I refer you have 2 1-hour time blocks and 1 2-hour time block. It really depends. Where it's like, okay, my phone is off. There's nobody around me. I am in a room. All I can do is just work. Now, this concept's pretty interesting. My dad's been doing this forever. It's a big secret of his that why he loves what he does too. Why he's so good at it is works with employees too. I think they've found with most employees that your first like 3 hours in the day is your most productive, and then productivity like just during the day because you're tired. And that's why we have these lunch breaks. So it's like, okay, now I'm back in, now I'm back, but you're kind of sluggish in the end of the day. You just want to go home, right? The first 3 hours, coffee kicks in, you're just pumping, right? You're doing what you got to do. So what I could tell everybody is if you can have 2 of those 1-hour sessions a day, I think everyone in here can find 2 hours of just calling, texting sellers, reverse transfer, whatever, no money, right? Just whatever you're doing. Find 1 hour a day, 2 hours a day just for marketing. And you make this a non-negotiable for you. Like working out, like getting strong, like running, walking, playing your video games, watching a TV show, right? I always find it funny that everyone can time block an hour to watch, The Bachelorette or whatever, but no one can ever find an hour just to go out here and make calls or do whatever, right? So for young people, I will always tell you, your biggest issue is your phone. Phones, Instagram, Facebook, all these things, they're like hardwired in your brain to just be literally obsessed with scrolling and watching. Okay. You do not need to watch your 4th supermodel, okay, shake their butt on the internet for you to get ahead in life. That is not going to help you out. Okay. You watching that 3rd cat video is not going to benefit your life. You're getting a little dopamine hit. It just hooks you on. You're addicted, right? That's why I love school. It's like you're not constantly scrolling on school like a loser all day. Like school, like you're talking to other people, you're networking. At least you're doing something good. That was my biggest problem with Facebook groups. Is like you do that, then you get a notification from like Aunt Susie, and then you're back in this Facebook thing, right? That's the biggest issue I'm seeing with the young people, with older, like not older folks, but people over 30. It's mostly life because after 30, life just gets a lot more busy, right? You're exhausted. And at this point, it's like, how do I feel? Like, do I just not have hobbies anymore? I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is if you could just make the attempt to have a 1-hour block, I prefer 6 to 7 p.m. if you have to, 7 to 8, something for 1 to 2 hours a day of just calling, just texting with no money. That is going to give you the most significant results. I'm kind of frankly sick. And this is why, this is not like live or anything on like YouTube, going out here. It's just like, I make a lot of videos on like the information, and I'm finding the older I get, it's not the information anymore. Like you already know the course at freelance.com. It's absolutely insane. Like it ain't info. It's more the execution now. And I'm kind of frankly sick of this whole info thing because the info is out there. I've given info for 6-7 years. How do we increase the chance that you guys succeed? And obviously we have these people, guys and gals, love all y'all to death here, that just go out here and just take my info, then grind like crazy, get results. We see it. We see all the wins all the time on here, right? But how do I just lift everybody together, start getting results? And I think it's more about not romanticizing wholesaling, but romanticizing the work. So I'm going to be doing a lot more effort in actually doing the work. And so that's why, again, I'm telling everyone, October 1st in the school group only, I'm doing a challenge. And it's basically a 5-week challenge. Now, I'm 50-50 if it's going to repeat every 5 weeks, or we're just going to have it for only October. I'm going to see how it goes. But I'm going to do a non-recorded challenge. So not recorded, not anywhere, not recorded. You're never going to see the recordings of this thing. I'm going to go live 1 hour every single week for 5 weeks. And I'm just going to give everybody as much actionable results as possible. And to make it as crazy as possible, I'm going to force all of you guys and gals to give me reports every week of how many calls and texts you've made. And I'm going to give rewards to people that actually do what I said.